And for more on that plan outlined by the president and the future of the war, we turn now to the perspective of a man with very close political ties to Israel. Born in Tel Aviv, former Israeli ambassador and diplomat Alon Pinkas joining us this morning. Welcome back, sir.
Thank you, Hannah. Good morning.
Good morning. So this is the first time that Biden has publicly urged both sides, Israel and Hamas, to come together, get that ceasefire and hostage release deal across the finish line, get it done. What's stopping Israel and, more importantly, Benjamin Netanyahu from agreeing to this?
Well, before that, Hannah, there's something completely peculiar and unclear to me. Is this an Israeli proposal, as President Biden indeed emphasized 3 times that it is? Or is this some kind of a rendition of Biden's understanding or interpretation of what Israel means? Because between his speech and our conversation right now, Mr. Netanyahu tweeted or X'd or whatever it's called now, some kind of clarification in which he says essentially that Israel will agree to a ceasefire only after its conditions are met, which is sort of contrasting the tone that came up from Mr. Biden's statement last night. Now, as for the statement, look, it's absolutely clear that this, for the first time, he has said basically enough is enough. He put out or presented or portrayed a plan that supposedly is Israeli to end the war. This is not just a ceasefire. He said specifically in his speech that a temporary ceasefire would lead to a permanent cessation of hostilities, quote unquote. And so the question is this something that Israel actually signed off on? Because this is completely inconsistent and incompatible with things that Mr. Netanyahu himself said in the last few weeks. And this is something here is off, I have to tell you.
I'm so glad you mentioned Netanyahu's tweet, because he tweeted about an hour ago, and he said that we will continue to insist these conditions are met before a permanent ceasefire. So is that just back at square one at this point?
Absolutely. By the way, I know the tweet through your producer, so I want to thank you, the show.
We have a good team here. We have a very good team here.
You do. You do. Yeah, because, look, Mr. Netanyahu has been blurting out cliches about total victory and eradication of Hamas and toppling of Hamas and degrading of the military capabilities of Hamas and destroying Hamas politically. Okay, according to Mr. Biden's plan, which, again, I emphasize, he is supposedly quoting from an Israeli proposal, this is not going to be achieved. If Hamas says yes, hypothetically, Hannah, if Hamas says yes to this, and Israel then says yes to this, then Monday morning, tomorrow, or Tuesday morning, Netanyahu cannot declare neither a total victory or the toppling of Hamas or the eradication of its capabilities. So something is very, very strange here. Now, note one more thing. If you read the text, and I've read Biden's text, and I've read it thoroughly twice, he avoids mentioning 3 things. He does not at any point specify who will control Gaza after phase 2 and 3. Then there was a briefing, a senior administration official, I don't know, I can guess, but I don't know who exactly it was, that again refrained from mentioning the power vacuum or who will fill it. Secondly, as opposed to the plan that he presented in late January, the one that Tom Friedman in the New York Times called the Biden Doctrine, Mr. Biden is not talking about a Palestinian state, not talking about a Palestinian-Israeli political process, not talking about regional configuration. He has isolated, and perhaps he's right, practically, he has isolated just the immediate ceasefire and end of hostilities. Then there's also the question of the timing, and I'm sure you're aware of that, Hannah. He did this less than 24 hours after Mr. Trump was convicted on 34 charges. Right. I think the idea was to draw a stark contrast between what Trump is dealing with and what I, the President of the United States, a statesman, a conflict negotiator, a crisis manager, what I'm doing. So I think, there's a political angle here too.
And just a reminder, viewers, that Netanyahu is facing corruption charges once he's out of office. So I'm glad you mentioned that.
Thanks for watching, everybody. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. Also, don't forget to click that red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.